Dawson's Rambles.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here. This is going to be a quick Power Rangers comic related discussion video. So they recently officially revealed who the new Green Ranger 2.0 is, and it is Matt Cook. And I saw a surprising amount of comments of people saying, who's Matt? He's a radar technician? Bombshell announcement, guys. He's not Matt. He's Kylo Ren. Sorry, I had to do that joke again. Now I gotta go watch those videos again after I'm done with this. Okay, boomer. So I was kind of surprised by it, but then I realized the reason a lot of people didn't know who he was is because he was primarily from the Go-Go Power Rangers series. So for those of you that didn't know, or that, you know, needed to get caught up because they needed a refresher, I'm just going to do a brief, broad strokes explainer on who Matt is as a character. So Matt did debut in the first issue of Go-Go Power Rangers, and he's primarily been a Go-Go Power Rangers character, so if you never read that comic, that's probably why you're unfamiliar with him. And if you didn't know, Go-Go Power Rangers is a comic that's kind of like a prequel to the mmpr main comic. It takes place in the very early days of the mmpr Rangers adventures, kind of like the season 1, early season 1 times. And Matt was Kimberly's boyfriend from around that time, and the general concept of his character was kind of based around the idea, from what I recall, and what I recall from interviews, was like, what if there was somebody in the Rangers kind of friend group atmosphere that wasn't chosen to be a Ranger, and you know, they had to keep this secret from, and how would that play into both his life and their lives? And that was kind of the basis around it, and having Kim date someone before. And that's kind of where his character came into play, is they were constantly having to keep secrets from him. We saw how it affected the Rangers and how it affected him. He eventually did at one point get kidnapped by Rita, and he ended up kind of messed up from it, and he was kind of launching this investigation, so it kind of pushed him into the Ranger world a little bit. And then he eventually did find out who they were during the Ranger Slayer arc, because during Go-Go Power Rangers, like with a lot of things, they incorporated a Shattered Grid arc, and that arc was that Ranger Slayer accidentally found herself in the Go-Go Power Rangers time period, which was earlier in the timeline than she intended to show up, but she found herself in that time period, and Ranger Slayer, who is an older Kim, came face to face with Matt, and they recognized each other, and that's when Matt put 2 and 2 together, and then he confronted the Rangers. And he was upset with them for a little while, but he then came around, and he even wanted to get back together with Kim at some point, but then she wound up being with Tommy. And then there also, of course, is a coinless Counterpoint. I don't think he's going to have very much to do with this Green Ranger stuff, but it's worth noting that he was there. But so I think that's why people didn't know who he was, because his primary story took place over there. He was just a candidate everyone kind of expected because of his position in the story. And also because back when Shattered Grid ended, and then we were going to start Necessary Evil after Beyond the Grid, there was lots of discussion about what would change, because at the end of Shattered Grid they said, you know, things aren't going to go back the same, and we knew we were debuting the White Ranger, so I remember there being lots of discussion from myself and others of like, well, is Tommy going to be the White Ranger, or will it be Jason, or maybe it'll be Matt? So I think that's why he was on a lot of people's minds when the Green Ranger came up, and he was certainly one of the most obvious choices. And I said in the review that I think it's kind of more with the boring and obvious choice. I don't think it's going to be entirely boring. Like, I think it brings some interesting potential for the story. I just think it was one of the most, you know, in-your-face ones you kind of knew was going to happen. But it definitely opens up a lot of story with, you know, just to talk about this last part of the video, talk about the potential. I think obviously with the dynamic with Kim and Tommy, because him and Kim used to date, him and Tommy are dating. Wait, well, that could be a development. No, but now her and Tommy are dating now. And then Tommy's relationship to the Green Ranger. As of right now, as of this recording, Tommy doesn't seem to have a whole lot of hang-ups about the Green Ranger powers. Like, he actually seemed welcoming to him and didn't seem like he had any sort of reservations about them being used or any sort of attachment to the powers, but that could come into play later. They're definitely playing up the dangers of the Green Chaos energy, so that could all come into play with Tommy's relationship with Kim, his relationship with Kim, and the relationship with the Green Ranger powers. So there's definitely some interesting stuff there. My main hope is I just don't want them to go an evil direction. I think that would be incredibly repetitive. You know, we've already done the evil Green Ranger a million times over. We still have an evil Green Ranger running around in the form of Draken. Let's not go with that. They've definitely done some parallels between the dynamic between Grace and Green Ranger 2.0 and Rita and Tommy, which is fine. And I'm kind of expecting them to go in a direction where just their methods are different than Zordon's, which I think is fine. And that's the direction I want them to go, is just having them have disagreeing philosophies rather than them doing an evil Green Ranger arc again. I think that would be boring, and I think Matt is the chance to set apart this version of the Green Ranger. Like I said, I think there's some interesting stuff there. I think I was just maybe hyping it up too much as an unexpected choice of some sort, but I think there is lots of interesting story potential there, and especially too with his dynamic where he finds out all his friends were Rangers, and it's almost like he's couldn't get into this club they were all in. It's like when Dimitri joined Miyagi-Do after he couldn't cut it in Cobra Kai. Except I feel more like the Rangers are Miyagi-Do and Grace is Cobra Kai. But I think you know what I mean. So that is who Matt is, but I do think there's some potential there, and I still am interested in the Green Ranger. But what do you guys think of Matt as the choice for the Green Ranger? What types of stories do you want to see out of this reveal? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell to notifications of my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.